So I've already taught you about groups, and groups are fantastic, and I love using them. But there's something special about components that makes them a little bit better than groups, but it's only used at certain times. So we're going to look at that using these Vex robotic parts. So I have this gear, and I have this metal piece right here, and that's going to be one side of this claw that I'm going to make. And because it's going to be symmetrical, I'm going to take these two pieces, I'm going to right click on them, and I'm going to make it a component. I'm going to call it side of claw. So you got to give components a name, and I press create. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this, so just move copy over to the side. And then I'm going to, because I want it to be symmetrical, I want to do the flip-flop of it, I'm going to do reverse scale. So scale -1. Right? Doesn't look much different than when we did groups, but I'm going to go ahead and line this up. Okay, lining it up with the other one. And you can see, pretty neat the way we have it all set up. And I'm going to add this piece into the side. Now watch the difference. I'm going to take this, I'm going to go and cut that piece, double click in here, and as I move around, as I select things, you see it selects on the other side. And so if I paste this and set this up, you can see it's already added it to the other piece over there. That way I'm doing half the work that I need to, and it's duplicating all those actions for me as I get set up. I'll line this up. There it is. Use the height of this to line it up. Boom, there it is, perfect. And set. So I've got my claw, and then what's great is I can test it. So I can double click into this. I can select all of these pieces, and then using the rotate tool, click right here, and I can rotate, and you can see that now I can check the movement of my claw because it's mirroring on the other side. And it's also helpful for, like, if you were building a table, right? And we're building a quick little table, and I had these, and these were going to be my legs. I make that a component. I want to call this legs. And I take that and I move it to all four corners. This way I can line them up while they're small and easy to manipulate. Then I can just double click on this and I can push like that, and you can see as I make adjustments, I'm going to take this and I'm going to scale it in. It's called tapering. So I taper those legs. I do that to one side, and it does it to all of them. You can see that out there nice, tall, and skinny. And it does that for me, all because these are components. And if you ever need to, you can make them unique components. So once I've made it, and I'm like, okay, but now I want this front side to be different, I can go right click and make unique. What that does is that breaks off of the chain of it being a component. So now if let's say I edit this one, and I just do something like this, silly to it, notice that these three are working, but the other one that I made unique is not. So it's kind of an extra powerful thing. If you've got pieces that are very similar or repeatable, it's best to just kind of do that. The biggest advantage is if you could do these individually, copy and paste them, but if you need to make an adjustment to one of them, let's say you need to change the way this looks or the way it is, then you have to do it to all of them. And that'd be really tedious if you had, 3, 4, 5, 6 more copies of that same thing. You'd have to change it for all of them. And that is components. One thing I also want to show you just real quick in the midst of all this is, since we're working on really realistic representations of our objects in our school, we're going to go ahead and add view shadows. By adding shadows, just give it a second, it's going to give it a real good look. Now, it's going to add a little bit of memory, so you might want to do this at the very end, or intermittently. You can just turn it on and off, but you can see it adds just a neat effect that really brings this to life. So I hope you enjoyed looking at components and then how to add shadows to your project.